While you wait for James Gunn's Superman, we brought you the Chinese version of the Superman movie. Hello and welcome back to every recap ever. Today we are seeing a sci-fi superhero movie called Ghetto Superman. So subscribe to our channel for more such recaps and let's go. In a remote area, May is trying to find a breakthrough in her research. She suddenly feels a disturbance around her. Everything starts shaking around her, and the next second, she sees a meteorite falling near her house. She somehow manages to survive the shockwaves and goes to check the impact site. May sees two unknown figures coming from the crater and flying into thin air. All there is left now is the weird-looking red stone. 10 years later, we meet a college student named Chun, who comes to the showroom to get her bike's maintenance. Apparently, she is a streamer and soon gonna do a sting operation on a famous restaurant. She gets ready with her spy glasses and viewers quickly join in. Her friends dress up as interviewers and come to meet the restaurant owner. She takes the advantage and sneaks into the kitchen. So there is a guy who works part-time for the restaurant. His name is Mosin and apparently he has superpowers. On the other side, Chun somehow sneaks into the warehouse through the kitchen. However, her stream loses signal due to the jammers. She thinks quickly and starts recording on her phone. Apparently the guys are using bad oil for their food. She gets spotted and they try to capture her. She is well trained in martial arts and manages to defeat the guys easily. The owner gets the gist of what is happening in the warehouse and connects the dots. He goes to confront Chun, but even he is no match for her. She manages to escape with the proof. The owner then asks Mosin, who returned from the lunch break, to retrieve the phone. He even offers triple pay in exchange, and the naive Mosin quickly runs behind the girl. He starts chasing Chun and decides to fly high for better tracking. In the end, he manages to confront her. Chun tries to trick him and even tries to fight. However, Mosin counters her with ease. He takes the phone and immediately leaves the scene. On the other side, the owner, who is worried about his secrets getting leaked, sees Mosin with the phone. He gets so happy and asks him to become his right-hand man in his dirty work. Mosin realizes that he was working for a wrong man all along. He ignites the fire using his powers, and the whole restaurant burns down. So Mosin is fond of Superman comics. He lives with his dad, and it turns out they are the beings who came from meteorite years ago. Mosin lost his mom giving birth to him. He then goes to his neighbor's aka and ice house to borrow some rice. She lost her husband a few years ago due to some unforeseen events. She is always kind to Mosin and his father. Meanwhile, Chun goes to the boxing club to vent her anger. She keeps thinking about Mosin and how he defeated her. It's like she is getting obsessed with him. Her father calls her and tries to cheer her up. He gets visited by a man who works for a business tycoon. Apparently they want to buy the patents for the particle separator from his company, and they are ready to pay the hefty amount. Chen's dad schedules a meeting with their boss a few days later and asks him to leave. The man then goes in the car, and it turns out the boss is May herself. Meanwhile, Mosin's dad sees I leaving the house. Mosin asks his dad if he is interested in her. However, he declines the claim. According to their planet's tradition, they can only love once in their lifetime. His dad asks him to be careful using his powers and not let anyone see it. Coming back to May, she goes to her company for a meeting with the CEO. The company's CEO asks her to stop researching the red stone. It's the same stone we saw at the start. Apparently, when she received the stone, she made a deal with the company's CEO to let them research the stone. According to the deal, she now possesses the 30% ownership of the company. Later, she started buying everyone's shares, and now basically she is the biggest holder. She is very close to extracting the energy from the stone. She needs the two aliens which she saw that night. Apparently, the CEO's health is declining and he doesn't have much time left. May knows this and she is waiting eagerly to take the CEO's seat. The next day, at the college, Chen's friends get worried about her. She just keeps thinking about revenge. They plan something to make Mosin embarrassed. Later, their professor scolds them for the restaurant incident and even confiscates Chen's camera bag. He asks them to be more like Mosin, who apparently scores good grades and goes to the same college as them. That evening, Mosin's dad sees Aunt I returning home. He uses his powers and malfunctions the lock. He then asks Aunt I to join him for the drinks. Oh, and Mosin apparently is busy flying around and reading Superman comics. After a few drinks, she starts blabbering about her late husband. Things become quite awkward. Just then Mosin comes home and she quickly leaves home. Mosin gets suspicious of his dad for using his powers on her house's lock. The next day, Chen's friends try to humiliate Mosin by sliding his chair. However, he just sits in the air. Chun even tries to push him down, but he doesn't budge. This makes her even more furious, and she promises to take her revenge one day. That evening, her father comes to her room asking for help. Apparently, their company is launching a new makeup product and he wants to send the look for the appraisal. After applying the makeup, Chun gets another idea for her revenge. She will make Mosin fall for her and break his heart later. The next day at the college prize ceremony, she intentionally sits beside Mosin and tries to talk with him. However, he doesn't pay attention to her. Apparently, the important guest for the prize ceremony is Mei. She gives her speech of how she became a successful businesswoman. The students start asking questions and Mei answers them. She even replies rudely to some of the students. Chun then shows Mosin the new Superman comic and tries to strike up the conversation. Mosin notices Mei's arrogance and asks Chun to start streaming. Apparently, he gets first prize and wins a hefty amount as scholarship. He immediately asks Mei to transfer the money into his bank account. Mosin then shares his number to everyone and asks them to text him. He is basically giving away free money to everyone who texts him. He becomes like a hero to everyone and Mei ends up in an embarrassed state. Chun gets impressed seeing Mosin and asks him about the money. However, according to him, he doesn't need money. She asks him to go on a date with her. He is surprised to hear it from her, but he agrees. The next day, Chun asks her dad to get her ready for the date. They go to the amusement park and share some great moments together. Chun still tries to humiliate him, but she keeps failing. However, more than revenge, she is now enjoying his company. She asks him to go to his house for dinner. Meanwhile, Mosin's dad shows his powers to Aunt Ai. They both are drunk and he basically wants to impress her. Things escalate between them and you know what happens next. Mosin returns home and his dad locks his room with his powers. Chun sees his house and wonders why he didn't take the scholarship money. The money could have helped him. However, according to him, he doesn't believe in materialistic things. The conversation continues and Chun invites him for dinner at a fancy restaurant. She even buys formal clothing for him and herself. However, she still has some alternative motives. Mosin tries to open his dad's room, but his dad just keeps insisting that the room is locked. Mosin then opens the door and sees Aunt Ai with dad. He bursts out in anger and leaves the house. His dad then sees Chun and says sorry for showing the bad scenario. Chun then learns about Mosin's mom and she remembers about her mother. She starts feeling guilty for everything and leaves. Chun starts remembering how her mother died while saving her and starts feeling down. Meanwhile, during the meeting, Mei and Chen's father declines the proposal to give rights to the particle separator. He uses this technology specifically for the makeup production, so he can't give her the rights. Later, Mei makes a deal with Chen's father's business partner and asks him to unalive him. Doing this will make him the full owner, and in return she asks for the particle separator. Meanwhile, Mosin's dad tells the truth that he is not his son. He lied to him about his mother, who never existed apparently. He found Mosin accidentally in a dumpster and took him in, to prove that he is even ready to do the blood test. According to their species tradition, if they are blood related, their blood should mix in. However, their blood just rejects each other, and this confirms Mosin that his father is telling the truth. On the other side, the red stone starts glowing due to the presence of Mosin's dad's blood. They manage to pinpoint the location of the energy signals. This makes Mei happy and she starts dancing. Her dream of achieving otherworldly power is finally coming true. Mosin's dad lost his energy stone while fleeing when they landed. Mosin then realizes his mistake and asks about Chun. Meanwhile, Chun tries to call her dad, but her phone doesn't go through. Apparently her dad gets kidnapped by his partner and he just throws him away in the river. Chun quickly returns home and sees her stepmother unconscious. Apparently, Mei's men come barging in to search for the key of particle separator. However, they didn't find the key. Chun remembers her dad giving her some key and she keeping it in the camera bag. So she quickly goes to the college to retrieve the bag. Mei's men catch up to her and she starts fighting. They defeat her and manage to grab the key. Mosin comes to her rescue and defeats the bad guys. However, the key gets into their hands. Meanwhile, Mei's researcher makes an energy gun using some of the stone's energy and they kidnap Mosin's dad. Mosin brings Chun to his house and sees the message left behind by Mei's men. Chun finally learns about Mosin being an alien and his powers. They come up with a plan and infiltrate the building using Mosin's powers. He manages to find his dad, however, he gets blocked by the force field. Mei finally comes clapping and starts attacking them with the energy extracted from the stone. Mosin starts feeling weak due to the stone's energy. Chun comes in between the energy and gets hit. She asks him to finish this before falling unconscious. Mosin anger skyrockets and he just runs away. He runs away to get his energy back. He then starts running at the full speed, which exceeds the speed of sound. Mei, who is unaware of Mosin coming, starts celebrating her win. The next second she gets hit and finds herself outside. The authorities quickly arrive to arrest everyone and the chapter finally closes. Chun somehow survives and apparently her dad is also alive. His partner, at the last second, realized his mistake and didn't proceed with Mei's plan. The news of her going crazy about seeing aliens becomes viral and her company shuts down. Chen's dad thanks Mosin for saving his daughter and helping them. Soon after they start dating each other officially and live a peaceful life. There you have it, a low-budget Superman movie before we get to see a potential blockbuster this year. Be sure to like and subscribe for more recap like this.